Family and friends, welcome once again to the first video in a series of relationships. Today I talk about the relationship between us and our Creator, why it is the most important, and how I go about loving God. To begin, one must understand that the dilemma with relationships on the whole has always been naturally systemic. You see, a beginning and an end brings together the highs and the lows of the inevitable process. Now, let's face it, every relationship goes through a make or break phase. The one we have with God is no exception. However, it is one-sided, because I am 100% positive of the fact that God's love is unconditional. How do I know this? Well, you see, I find proof of God's unconditional love all around us. I find it in the very existence of life. Let me explain. Every force of life points to creation, a design, if you will, by an engineer of epic proportions. For example, take a look at what man has created. It goes through a defined process developed an individual creative mind, a plan that is led and then developed and eventually made. The driving force behind this is pure passion, a true love and interest for the thing being made. Take a look at life and its grand scale. Isn't there a design of unending intricacies? If this is evident, then isn't all of creation a work of passion, a work of love? The argument can simply be made by this logic alone, that because of life's unending design, that our Creator's love is truly unconditional. Think about it seriously for a minute. Would you be able to put a price of any kind on the creation of life? The collective reality for our mortal souls is that our love for God is not unconditional. It is in most cases at best a dependent one, and it's only getting worse. The problem, if you see it as such, is simply distraction. Unfortunately, in most cases, by self-sabotage. And at the helm of that sabotage is good old technology. Now, although it's an essential part of the progression of the human race, it has its flaws and is a huge part to blame. Technology is quickly changing how we relate with each other, and with the advent of social media, it's only getting worse. The addiction for attention goes both ways as it comes, packaged conveniently in what we call our mobile phones, which in actuality today are highly capable and powerful personal computers. So as a result, technology is our biggest distraction and yet our greatest hope. This applies to all relationships, but especially true with our relationship with God. Technology has taken what used to be a singular path to knowledge and wisdom, the simple interpersonal interactions between human beings, to now having a plethora of information that, if left unchecked, will bombard your senses whether you want it or not. Before, a young brain was taught about his or her world by their elders, stories expressed in song, dance, and emotional nuances for an experience that no 3D, 4K immersive experience can begin to replicate today. So as a result, we're losing the essence of humanity and our ability to communicate, have a relationship with God. We can change that by striving to be in a constant state of awareness. To do this, one must look within, not outside for inspiration. Look within. To truly be aware in this world is to accept the fact that we were and continue to be created. This belief leads to the acknowledgement and belief of the Creator, a singular being responsible for the creation of all things. In my humble opinion, it is the basis for the most intimate relationship in our life. Years ago, I remember watching a movie starring Will Smith called I, Robot. It depicted a similar relationship between robots and their creators. The loyalty, respect, and love for their creator was embedded in their core operating system. The same is true with us humans. Our core operating system is essentially our souls. a knowledge that we are born with, a part of God Himself, but only understood when one can look through the distractions of life and look within. Our ancestors who worshipped the sun, for example, had a deeper relationship with God, I believe, than we do now. They were less distracted, you see, and as a result, much more focused and aware. Although life was not as easy as we have it today, it was that much more tangible and filled with what I call life moments. Birth and death, they were even more intimate. Like any bond we forge with works of passion that we create, our relationship with God should strive to be unconditional. And I say strive. Now, regardless of your religion, the facts are indisputable. We exist in a body on a planet in the universe, all governed by God's design. Therefore, our souls are forever part of His existence, eternally transitioning into different forms of energy as orchestrated by His design, all encompassing, all knowing, and as a result, the deepest form of love in existence. This cycle and consequent relationship is unconditional because of its infinite possibilities and connections. Religion itself cannot begin to mitigate or limit this in any way. Religion can only offer a format of choice of communication, similar to a language preference or a cell phone provider. A means of communication, yes. However, it is in no way a substitute for an interpersonal relationship. A one-on-one level of communication is paramount for trust, memories, and subsequently great ideas and works of passion develop from them. This is why a real relationship requires a much deeper connection and reality. When we are born and when we die, there's nothing but the grace of God in those moments. No book, no pastor, no church. Our relationship with God is not governed by the rules of time or history. Time simply a measure, and history its record. However, our existence, beautiful in its complexity, ever evolving, governed by the laws of the universe with endless expanse, is the reason. It is a true driving force between our relationship with God. We all enter and leave this world the same. The differences are really just a matter of perspective based on cultural and ancestral influences, and totally not a reason for dispute or divide, but rather to celebrate. Because when you arrive to your spiritual destination, it will not be of this world anyway. In this life, we have been given an opportunity that is more like a lottery than a choice. From a physical perspective, a scientific point of view, your odds of existing is 1 in 400 quadrillion to 10 to the 2,600,000 power. Now, don't take my word for it. You can look this up. This is what the scientists say. You being here is beyond a miracle. So why do we take it for granted? Most of us do. Most of us live each day as if tomorrow is guaranteed, as if we have unlimited time and moments to get it all right. Collectively, we lose a sense of urgency dictated by our purpose and calling, resulting in hesitation, procrastination, and agitation on every aspect of our lives. Our shortcomings cause us to shift the blame of incompleteness to someone, something, or even God Himself. That is why understanding the lottery of life and constantly reminding yourself of the miracle that you are is the foundation for loving God and ultimately building a relationship with your Creator. Having a true relationship with God is strictly that of gratitude, a total experience of existence, the gift of choice, perspective, admiration, a physical journey for a soul. No other animal or species can experience life and all its wonder as we do. So as the sun rises gloriously every morning, as the ocean waves crash on the banks of the world's most beautiful beaches, as we traverse through our beautiful home we call Earth, we must always consider with every breath we take the amount of energy that came together to afford you this lottery we call life. Call him what you want, but a relationship with God is simply a constant state of love for your existence and a humble, grateful attitude towards that experience. So how does one love God physically? Well, it's only fair to reciprocate unconditionally. And yes, there is nothing wrong in congregating with others to praise God. However true, communication with God happens within. No physical man-made influence can compare to the wisdom of the soul. The soul lies within, so it only makes sense to speak to God from within, by yourself, away from it all. It is the only way to establish true relationship. Your choice of book, church, pastor, these are all tools in maintaining a study of your relationship with God. But actually communicating and having a relationship with God can only happen within one's soul. In the grave, there is no room for earthly influences and historical preferences. When you die, you cross over into a realm where physicality is of no importance. You let it all go. All you will have is what you started with: God's unconditional love. Animals and children with no conscience, the purest of innocence, are clearly the closest to capturing the essence of God on earth. To love them and your brothers and sisters, despite race, color, or creed, is the best way to express your love to God. Striving to love all unconditionally as He does, it is the closest to the essence of God we can achieve in this life. We must aim to give, not take. Aim to love, not hate. Forgive those as you would like to be forgiven, and love without any expectation. It is then you see God, you hear God, and you definitely feel God. With that said, may your minds be inspired to have an even deeper relationship with God, and may you be motivated to love unconditionally, as they are all ambassadors of our creators. Stay tuned for my next episode, Love of Self, which is the second most important relationship in the world. This will be followed by lifetime relationships, maternal and paternal, in these series of relationships. Until then, family and friends, may you have a meaningful and purposeful week. God bless.